Hi there, Acer fans and plant lovers alike, really. I'm going to start here with a very unassuming sort of start to a video, I suppose, really. So I hope you carry on watching. 3 water butts all down the side of my house. They are all levelled against that mortar joint down the back of the house. And there's a pipe here that runs all the way across here, through the gate, and to a diverter. I'm sure many of you are used to these, but some maybe not. What that does is very clever, because it literally goes to the top of my house where there's a enormous roof covered in solar panels, but it runs off nicely into the gutter. And bear in mind, I'm on a water meter here. This saves me a fortune, really. So those barrels are 100 litres each, 3 of them, 300, and they've actually got room at the end to extend a little further. So again, in case you don't know, what happens is really clever. Water flows through here into the barrels. Once one barrel fills, it will tend to flow to the second one if they're not quite level, so that's absolutely fine. But once all 3 are filled, this will sort of back up to here. This will then overflow, and inside it tips and carries on down through the drain to the drainage system. So it's absolutely fine. It's a great system, and you've got a sort of built-in overflow, which stays getting the water sort of all over down the side of the house or whatever, really. So that works really, really well. So to that, I'll just show you in here again. I have 3 pieces of hose, one connected to each one, and I've opened the valves so they're ready to go. And then that will lead all the way down here, down the garden, to where the majority of my plants are. Now, prior to this, I had a big problem because I was having to sort of fill up by hand. I can fill 3 in one go or do that sort of thing, that's fine. But then sort of handballing all the water down the garden. As you can see, for those new to the channel, there's quite a lot of things to water here. So quite honestly, it was getting a bit laborious. So this way I've got a hose pipe running down, which makes life a lot easier. Now, because those are higher, it will gravity feed down here and supply me with some water. However, I'm just going to unclip this. This is one of these quick lock hose connector things. That's the kind of rate of flow I'm going to get, which is all right at the moment, not horrendous, but as those barrels empty, it's not brilliant to start with, really. And it's going to get less and less as the water levels drop. So what I'm connecting this to is this little gizmo, which I sort of didn't know until I looked for it kind of scenario. This is a transfer pump. So these are used by plumbers and such things like that for removing water from, sort of moving water from one location to another. There could be a flood somewhere, so you can pump the water away, that sort of thing. But I thought, well, I'll give this a whirl as for use for gardening purposes. This is a battery one. There's a big battery goes in there, that's nice. Or indeed, you can take this and get mains ones. But this gives me a bit more flexibility. So I've got the main hose leading from the top of the garden coming around here into the device. And because the on and off switch is here, I thought, well, I want to take this down here with me rather than leave it at the top. So here it is. And off this, I've got a secondary pipe running through to be watering here. So yes, you could put a rose on here. I haven't got round to that. You can do whichever you like, really. But essentially, what I want is kind of mains pressure, but from water butts, and you can't necessarily have both. I could have, with hindsight, mounted those really high up the wall, but that wouldn't really work either, I don't think. So if I give this a press and cross my fingers, what I've now got is that, which is an excellent pressure to get the job done. And for those who've watched the channel before, I tend to sort of leave things to dry out to a reasonable extent, give those roots a chance to not be wet all the time. They don't really like that. But when I water, I want to give it a really good soaking. So yeah, probably should use a rose on the end or whatever, but for these purposes, here we go. But as you can see, it gives me the opportunity on this little fella down here to kind of flood the pot to the top and let it soak through. So it's pretty quick, pretty easy, and just saves me back, gives me that flexibility. So I reckon without moving the device too much, I can do a whole heap of the garden really. I'll probably do the few acres at the top by hand. There's another water butt running off my conservatory, but it just makes this a bit of a pleasure. Again, if you're watering, always water the plant, not the pot. But I'm kind of well aware that actually that's done a very good job. Well, I don't need too much more of that, you get the idea, but as I say, a bit of an expense, bit of a treat, but I think overall, if it helps me to sort of get the job done quite quickly, there's a lot of watering to be done for the rest of the summer, I think that's probably a good purchase. Again, if you want to be, I can charge these batteries for this runs on off solar, that makes it nice and environmentally friendly, or indeed I could have bought a sort of transfer pump that's kind of more mains driven and done something similar, but as you can see, it's getting the job done pretty well, so I'm pleased with that. And there we go. So again, another bit of a break from my normal kind of videos, but it all goes and adds to the hobby hopefully, and maybe of some use to someone out there. So do let me know what you think in the comments, and of course do like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.